let's keep the ball rolling with our error checking by also checking if the user exists in our fake database before we try to delete, retrieve, or update that information. Otherwise, someone can just pass in an invalid user ID, let's say 18, and our API currently just returns success or just errors out, basically. So to show you a little bit in Postman of what I mean, if I try to get the user 18 by just issuing a GET request to this endpoint, we get status success, but that's not exactly accurate because that user doesn't even exist in our fake array database. And the way we can get a more accurate response is any API call that has this ID argument coming in, what we can say is have a simple if statement that says if type of users at rec.params.id is equal to undefined. This is just saying that if this particular element in the array does not exist, then instead of returning a successful response, what we are going to do is return a failure. So we can say failure, which takes a response object, a next. The data can just be nothing. Or actually, let's make the data a message indicating exactly what went wrong. The specified user could not be found in the database. And the typical response code for this kind of a situation is 404. So instead of returning success, we should now be able to get a failure message. If we issue a GET request for user 18, we get failure, the specified user could not be found in the database. And you'll also notice on this side over here that the status has changed from 200 to 404, which is exactly what we want. So in order to make the same type of change to the other API calls, anytime we're taking in an ID as an argument, the first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that that ID is actually defined. Otherwise, we're going to throw an error. Similarly with this delete API call here. So you can't get you can't get user 18. If I were to actually issue a delete request for user 18, it's going to say the specified user could not be found in the database. But if I do have valid users, and I'll make a bunch now, 3, 4, if I issue a delete request for user 3, forget this body part here, you don't need that. You can actually see that there was a successful deletion. If I try to delete again, oh, failure. The specified user could not be found in the database. So that's one more level of validation to make our API a bit more robust. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.